accommodate our youth in large number in the agricultural sector. Suspected gunmen in the axis of Port Harcourt, River State capital, have shot dead a vigilante at Obindaso waterfront in the Mile 1 part of the metropolis on Saturday night. Eyewitness said members of the group known as Dio Vigilante in the company of policemen while acting on the tip-off about the activities of the cult groups called some the waterfront to attack a rival group in an ongoing war between two houses of suspected gang known as Daybam. In a similar development, suspected cultists have shot dead a man identified as Umar, an ex-member of the Diop Vigilante at Kaduna Street D-Line in Port Harcourt. When contacted, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, Grace Ringikoko, confirmed the two incidents, saying investigation is ongoing. 35 corps members from the 2023 batch Airstream 1 service year in Bayelsa State have been sanctioned by the National Youth Service Corps for several offenses against the service code. About 21 corps members who committed various offenses have had their service extended, while 14 corps members will repeat their service here. The state coordinator, Ms. Okpali for Obaligi Charity, who disclosed this during a low-key presentation of certificates to corps members, congratulated the corps members on the successful completion of the 2023 batch Airstream 2 service year. She commended the corps members for their immeasurable contributions to the state during their service year and thanks traditional rulers and various host communities across the state for providing a conducive environment for corps members to save the nation in the state. Some corps members who distinguished themselves during the service year were rewarded with certificates of commendation. All Progressives Congress has rejected the local government election conducted across 105 wards in Bayelsa State on Saturday by the State Independent Electoral Commission. The APC said the poll was also marred by irregularities in Sagbama as one hoodlums hijacked electoral materials meant for Ward 6, 7, 11, 13, and 14 in the area, adding that there was also vote party vote materials and personnel of the Bayelsa State Independent Electoral Commission who arrived late in Yenogwa, Sagbama, Ekeremo, Kokoruma, Okpuma, Obia, Nembe, Bras, and Southern Ijo Council areas. In his reaction, Governor Duye Duri described the poll as peaceful after casting his vote along with his wife, Gloria, at their Kalamaweri Unit 4, Ward 6 in Sampo Community, Kolokoma, Okpoma local government area. They lauded the State Electoral Commission for the proper handling of the council poll and expressed optimism that his party, the People's Democratic Party, would win the election. Edo State House of Assembly has impeached the Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Shuaibu. Report confirmed that the impeachment was squirrel to the report submitted by the Justice S.A. Omoana-led 7-man panels which investigates the petition against the Deputy Governor. The panel in its report said the allegation of perjury was not proved beyond reasonable doubt by the complaint against the Deputy Governor, while that of disclosure of government officials' document was proved beyond reasonable doubt against the Deputy Governor. At the plenary, 20 members attended, 18 members voted in favor of the panel's report, while one vote against. The Speaker of the House, Blessing Agbabako, directed that a clean copy of the impeachment decision by the House be sent to the Governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, for access. Former President Goodluck Jonathan is urging the new administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Dr. Dennis Otuaro, to prioritize education in order to foster development in Niger Delta region. Jonathan disclosed this in a statement while paying homage hosted Dr. Denis Otuaro during a consultative visit to him in Abuja. He said you need to focus attention on the education scholarship under the program to benefit more people in the region, adding that women empowerment is also important as part of the effort to deepen peace in the region. Also speaking, Otuaro thanked the former president for the contribution to peace and development, not just in the Niger Delta, but also the entire country, and assured Jonathan that the presidential amnesty program under his leadership would not deviate from the original plan to sustain peace and development in the Niger Delta region. The Nigerian Army has dismissed claim of favorism towards soldiers of northern region in the trial of errant personnel in Enugu State. 25 soldiers and officials were martillated at the 82 Division of the Army for the various offenses in October 2023. And there were allegations that 2 soldiers from the north being tried for murder had been freed and reabsorbed into service, while their counterparts from the south were being convicted. One of the soldiers alleged to have been favored was identified as Pate Usan Shove, and while reacting to the allegation in the statement, the Director, Army Public Relations Major General Onyema Nwachuku, accused those behind the allegation of trying to cause disunity. The statement said Nigerian Army has noted appealing misinformation being circulated by the online media platform that some alleged aggrieved soldiers who were recently arraigned in the court martial in 82 Division expressed concern that there was a deliberate effort to convict soldiers of southern extraction while those of northern Nigeria were allowed to go free. It also said the Nigerian Army wished to clarify an equivocal ever that the report is entirely bereft of any stand of truth and ultimately as disappearing the current leadership using the instrumentality of ethnic and religion bigotry. Police in Lagos State have arrested a dismissed Nigerian naval officer for allegedly impersonating a service military officer and assaulting residents. The unnamed suspect was said to have been apprehended while he and his boys were beating a hotel worker. The police in Lagos State said the suspect would soon be arraigned in court after investigations are concluded. All Progressives Congress says it will win the forthcoming governorship election in Edo and Ondo states. APC Deputy National Organizing Secretary Nze Chidi Duru has disclosed this at the party National Secretariat in Abuja, assured the 16 candidates seeking APC tickets for the Ondo State governorship election on November 6, 2024 as a fair, open and transparent primary election that will be conducted on April 20. He said Edo has become a test case and the party is resolute in determining through a process that is free, who the candidate of the party would be and felt they would need to go to court, but have confidence that APC will win Ondo State. Kwara State government says violators of the ban on charcoal production in Kwara State will be sanctioned if caught in the act. The State Commissioner for Environment, Shegu Nanusa Usman, who disclosed this, warned charcoal producers to stop the illegal felling of trees and support the government in its effort to eradicate deforestation to avoid the destruction of the state. Danusa said the task force on charcoal will continue to move around the state to ascertain the level of compliance and impound vehicles importing charcoals out of the state. He implored the task force and law enforcement agents not to arrest small cars such as buses and taxis transporting within the state for domestic use, but should rather confiscate their goods and lorries and report such culprits to the ministry appropriately for necessary actions. Danusa also enjoined the public to join hands with the present administration in the state in its effort to eradicate deforestation and promote a clean and healthy environment in the state. 25 victims of an attack by bandits in Agojeju Odo community in the Omalala local government area of Kogi State have been buried. The deceased, which include 2 women and 4 children who were killed by armed men, the district head and Ochala Onuife Bangaji Odu Omala, Chief David Akpa, described the attack as barbaric and wicked given the way the bandits unleashed mayhem on his people. Akpa also said the attack was the second in 2024 and has created fear among the residents. Special advisor on security to Governor Usman Ododo, Commodore Jerry Omodara, said the governor has ordered a thorough investigation of the incidents. President of Mitahalatu Kutai Hore, Bello Bodejo, has alleged that the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, was behind the establishment of the ethnic militia group Kunjia Zaman Lafia. Bodejo, who is facing terrorism charges, accused the governor of pressurizing him into forming the militia group. The Miyati Hala leaders was arrested by the operatives of the Defense Intelligence Agency on January 23, 2024 at the group's office in the Kora local government area of Nasarawa State for allegedly unveiling a military group, and has been in custody and was aligned before Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja on the 3 counts of terrorism on March 22, 2024. Bodajo was specifically accused of establishing a Kungaji Zaman Lafia ethnic militia in Nasarawa State without authorization, and the offense is punishable under the Section 29 of the Terrorism Act 2022. He also alleged that the Nasarawa State governor was behind the formation of the military group after he received a call from the governor earlier in the year expressing his desire to establish a vigilante groups different from those of his counterpart, adding that he met with Akajo and Governor Sule at the government lodge in Abuja. Operatives of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command has arrested 85 suspects over various offenses committed in the nation's capital. A statement issued by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer Josephine Ode said the arrest was a squad to coordinate raid exercise in some identified black spot and criminal hideout in Durumi and Dede houses of the FCT, and the suspects were arrested for offenses ranging from erecting illegal structure and shanties to padding of hard drugs and the manufacturing of the counterfeit currency. He said paper and coins, counterfeit currencies, both in local and foreign, lights, weapon, 8 motorcycles, 7 generators, gadgets, and several ATM cars suspected to have been stolen from their victims were all recovered. The PPRO assured that all the suspects will be stressing that those found culpable will be profiled and outlined in court, adding that illegal wooden structures erected by the hoodlums have been dismantled and set ablaze. The Commissioner of Police FCT CP Bennett C. Igwe wishes to reassure residents of his commitment to flush out criminals from FCT and ensure the safety of all citizens. Kaduna State Police Command has arrested a 9-man gang of suspected ritualists under the name of New Black Movement at the cemetery in Dosen Aba Ward along the Zaria Kaduna Expressway with 1 full jerrycan of human blood. ASP Manshaw Hassani, Public Relations Officer at the command, while making a confirmation of the arrest, explained that their arrest followed a tip-off after a source drawn the attention of service information that some groups of people were sighting at the said cemetery, which in turn Saye local division was alerted. He said the suspect ritualists comprising the new and old members were apprehended while initiating the new members, saying the gang confessed to getting the human blood after slaughtering an aged man and disposing of his body along the Aja military cantonment in neighboring Igbabi local government area. The suspect also confessed that the man's vital body parts were dismembered but were taken away by another gown which came from Kaduna. ASP Mansha Hazani, public relations officer of the command, confirmed the arrest, explaining that investigations are ongoing. Agro Ranger of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has resisted an attack by the suspected bandits on the federal government's grain silo in the Dostima local government area of Kaduna State. The spokesperson for the NSCDC, Mr. Buhari Hamisu, said in a statement in Kaduna that the bandits wanted to destroy the silo and adopt its manager, Mr. Lawal Shitu Yahadua, before the Agro Ranger responded swiftly and engaged the bandits in a fierce gun deal for over 2 hours. Hamisu said the NSCDC had detailed more personnel to the location and increased the firepower of the operatives to prevent a reoccurrence of such an attack. Troops of Nigerian Army have gunned down over 11 armed bandits between Ananka-Badega Road and in Zamfara State. This is coming after the notorious bandits blocked the road to prevent road users from passing the houses and kidnap people plying the road, while the armed troop, on receiving a distress call, quickly mobilized to the scene and engaged the terrorists in a gun duel, forcing the criminals to flee into the forest. The armed troop conducted 2 separate operations in Zamfara and Katsina State, which led to cleaning of a road blocked by terrorists to kidnap innocent people, while 1 AK-47 rifle, 2 AK-47 magazine, 5 rounds of 7.62 mm, special munitions, and 1 motorcycle were recovered from the terrorists. The army also said its troops in a separate operation in Katsina State cleared several insurgents camps within Yal Malami and Hamfodin general area in Faskari local government area, and 1 bandit was eliminated in the aftermath of the shootout. The troop also recovered 1 local fabricated gun, 2 motorcycles, and 6 mobile phones, among other items. One person is found dead in the flood that Wakenahawk in Norojo community in Sadoma local government area of Taraba State, while windstorm also destroyed several houses in Tokom local government council of the state. Apart from the victim who was killed in the flood, another person was reported missing with several houses destroyed. Penned by the disaster, the members representing the area in the State House of Assembly, Nelson Lenz, described the incident as unfortunate and the first of its kind in the area, adding that the destruction of waterways in the community will go a long way to avert future occurrences. He said the disease had been identified as Goma Sadiq, while measures have been put in place to rescue the missing person. Other members of the community who confirmed the incident are pleading with the state government and the Northeast Development Commission to extend olive branches to the victims. Leaders of the Federal University Kokari in Kokari local government area of Taraba State has confirmed that the adopters of 2 students of the institution are demanding a sum of 50 million as ransom. The students who were last week adopted from the nearby restaurant have been identified as Joshua Saduna and Obinu Elizabeth, confirming the kidnapped demand. The head of Information and Protocol Unit at the university, Mrs. Ashu Agbo, said the kidnappers, who earlier demanded a ransom of 50 million, have reduced their demand to the sum of 12 million. The kidnappers' intention, according to Ashu, were to adopt the owners of the eatery, which one of the kidnapped students was eating, but snatched the student when their target was not found. She said the kidnappers also will notify of their intention to come back for the owners of the eatery, adding that the school authorities, in collaboration with the security operatives, are still working around the clock to ensure that the students regain their freedom from the abductors unhurt. Yobe State Command of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it has deployed 862 personnel to ensure a hands-free Eid-al-Fitr celebration in the state. The command's Public Relations Officer Bala Gbagba, who disclosed this in Damaturu, said the state commandant Adamu Zakiri gave the directive for the deployment of the operatives across 17 local government areas of the state ahead of the Shaha festival. He said that they were instructed to be proactive and that to treat people with respect while discharging their duties, and urged them to report any suspicious movements of persons or objects to the nearest security agency. You are watching The Transition on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break. Welcome back. This is The Transition on Atlantic Television Network, and now the rest of our stories. Federal government has declared Tuesday and Wednesday, April 9 and 10, 2024 as public holiday to mark the Eid-al-Fitr celebration. The Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who disclosed this in a statement on Sunday by the Military Permanent Secretary Ashitu Ndayoko, congratulated all Muslims for the successful completion of their fasting in the holy month of Ramadan. Tunji-Ojo called on them to imbibe and practice the virtues that entail kindness, love, tolerance, peace, and good neighborliness and compassion as exemplified by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. He urged Nigerians to continue in the spirit of unity in order to improve and achieve peace and oneness in the country. Spokesperson for the Senate, Yemi Adaramodu, says only the upper legislative bodies has the right to decide on the suspension of one of its members, Abdul Ningi, representing PDP in Bauchi State Central. Ningi was suspended by the Senate for alleging that the National Assembly passed the 2024 renewed whole budget with the total sum of 3.7 trillion, and the suspension came after the motion by Senator Adeola Solomon of the APC in Ogun State Ways move against Ningi over a bridge of privilege. 2 weeks into his suspension from the Senate, Ningi, through his lawyers, Femi Falana, wrote to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio demanding his reinstatement in the Red Chamber and also threatened the lawsuit against the presiding officer, while describing Ningi's suspension as a breach of Section 111 of the Constitution and Article 13 of African Chamber on Human and People's Rights Act. However, responding to whether Ningi had been reinstated, the Senate spokesperson said only the Senate has the authoritarian power to reinstate Ningi, adding that the Senate is currently on recess and no decision can be taken while the Senate is still on break. Socio-Economic Right and Accountability Project has dragged the Senate President Godswill Akpabio to Federal High Court, Abuja, by Serap lawmakers Kolowa Oluwadara over the failure to refer the alleged 3.7 trillion budget parted to appropriate anti-corruption agencies for investigation and prosecution, and to recall Senator Abdul Ningi, who blew the whistle on the allegation. The suit said it is in the public interest and the interest of justice to grant this application, adding that in an order of mandamus to direct and compel Mr. Akpabio to refer to alleged 3.7 trillion budget parted by appropriate anti-corruption agencies for investigation and prosecution of suspected perpetrators has been established. The organization also said granting this application will serve the public interest, encourage whistleblowers to speak up, improve public service, and ensure transparency and accountability in the management of public resources. Akpabio's counsel, Ome Kalu, said the decision and resolution to suspending it was that of the Senate sitting in plenary and not that of his client Akpabio, stressing that the suspension of Senator Nenge by the Senate followed a serious flawed process and it amounts to retaliation. Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offense Commission under Phase 5 of its ongoing tackling of constituency project embarked upon by federal lawmakers says more than 50 contractors, consultants and staff members of ministry, departments and agencies of the government are being investigated in the Phase 5 tracking report shared by the Anti-Graft Agency on its Verify X account. The ICPC said the exercise was carried out to investigate fraudulent procurement practices in the word of contrast for the Zonal Intervention Project, otherwise known as Constituency Project, executed under the 2019, 2020 and 2021 budget year during the administration of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the agency, about 200 bank accounts used for illegal deals on the project were also frozen, while over 5.6 billion naira was recovered as cumulative savings for the federal government during the exercise. While in 2019, the agency initiated a tracking based upon the dissatisfaction of Nigerians with the delivery of zips in repeat, of which a minimum of 100 billion had been budgeted since the year 2000. Meanwhile, out of the 5.6 billion naira cumulated save discovered in the report, $529.69 million was cash recoveries, while 1.55 billion naira was the value of recoveries in assets, and 3.54 billion naira was for the value of projects on which contractors returned to sites for work completion. According to the report, the contract value of tracked projects was 29.94 billion naira, but it was the sum of 25.17 billion that was said to have been paid at the various contractors handling the tracked project as one of the time the report was compiled. Analyst says public office holders, including state governor, are chief servant to the people and must be accountable and transparent for the interests of the state and the mandate they represent. He frowned at the misappropriation of the 9 billion naira palliatives and infrastructure development fund provided by the federal government to state governors across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Open Air, a public affairs analyst, Churchill Wale, said public office holders, including state governors, are chief servants as they represent the people's mandate of leadership and must be accountable or be punished in assets of the fraudulent activities.
Every leader is a servant, a chief servant. And as a chief servant, you are supposed to always do everything to inform your people that you are serving, and also that is when you go for an errand for them, whatsoever thing they give to you, you inform them and also do accordingly. But in this aspect now, the chief servants are now becoming the masters. They don't care about the people they are serving. They see themselves as being in control, and it's completely wrong. How will you tell me that out of 36 governors, that only one governor has said the truth. That means the other ones wants to keep it. If not that, that governor of Plateau State said that this kind of money has been sent to us. So my people, you people should see how the money is. See how I got this money, see how I got this money. And I also saying it clearly that it was sent to all of them. Nobody will.
Wale also called on the defaulted palliative governors to ensure that they utilize the 9 billion naira palliatives and infrastructure development fund provided by the federal government to its purpose for the benefit of the people.
Should do the right thing by using that money for the purpose the president sent the money to them.
Okay.
Because there is high level of hunger in the country. And the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is fighting tooth and nail to see that the economy of Nigeria is being bettered, is trying to help the lives of people of Nigeria. But these people are, like I said it here last time, that the kind of leaders we are having now is leaders that is thinking on how to build houses abroad, how to take their children abroad, how to be buying food even from abroad.
This is coming after a leading anti-corruption body followed the money assessed 35 state governors in the country of hiding the 9 billion naira palliatives and infrastructure developments fund provided by the federal government, saying that the only Plateau State has been transparent on the money utilization. World Health Organization says the looming disease may cause disaster of health, of death and disability. The organization said this in its message to commemorate the 2024 World Health Day. The WHD is a global health awareness day celebrated every year on April 7 to provide an opportunity to focus world attention on the health problems or issues that deserve special attention. It also said its Council on the Economic of Health for All has found that at least 140 countries recognize health as a human right in their constitution, while countries are not passing and putting into practice this law to ensure their populations are entitled to access health service. The organization also tackled the government to tax tobacco, sugar and alcohol, eliminate trans fats, reduce amount of antimicrobial in the agri-food system by 30 to 50%. By 2030, stop fossil fuel subsidies and subsidize or exempt tax of clean energy and fuels such as solar, hydro, and wind-based electricity, and prohibits all forms of discrimination. He urged the government to build up cycle infrastructure, support pedestrianization, ensure decent work, workers' rights and protections, and create fair, equal and gender-responsive working conditions for health and care workers, ensure access to social protection to reduce household vulnerability to poverty, and contractive the energy impact of unexempted life events on income, wealth, or health. Analyst says he is not happy with the unstable trend following the prosecution of the former CBN Governor Godswill Emefiele, with charges bordering on money laundering and possession of illegal firearms. Speaking on Atlantic Television, as political analyst Asim Adams said the inconsistency involved in the judgment and prosecution of the former CBN governor, if not properly handled, could lead to injustice.
To his house and they saw a pump action. They said he was in possession of illegal firearms. We were thinking the trial will begin, but once they went to court and arraigned him, they came back again. This rigmarole has been on now, going to a year plus. Do you know why they do this? Because our laws capriciously and surreptitiously has given leeways to security agencies and agents to torture Nigerians using the instrumentality of the law. Number one, under our elementary laws in Nigeria here, the security agencies or those who are prosecuting can amend their charges at any time before judgment. So which means if a man is charged to court and they find that as the matter is going on, the man has escape route he will use to defend himself, they go and say they bring fresh charges because the law allows them to amend their charges at any time before judgment.
Enea Waji Frank described the measures taken by the government over Emefiele's issues as witch hunting.
To go what we call witch hunting. But if you have a case against Emefiele, why not use legal means? And the agency is not doing what Nigerians are expecting it to do. I will say it here. It's like the agency only goes out when people in government say go out. They don't go out based on what Nigeria will say credible information against a certain corrupt individuals, whether politicians.
That the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission recently filed a fresh 26-count charges bordering on abuse of office and corruption against the immediate former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. This is coming after President Bola Tinubu formally announced the completion of the special investigation into the activities of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other related entities by the special investigators Jim Obazi. Northern Elders Forum has described as sudden and unjustified the removal of Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrimage Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam. This is coming after President Bola Tinubu had in January sacked Pam and appointed the Bishop of the Diocese of Ikeja Methodist Church in Nigeria and Chairman Christian Association of Nigerian Lagos State Chapter, Dr. Stephen Adebite, as the new Executive Secretary. The President also approved the appointment of 9 Nigerians to serve on the NCPC board, with Colonel Egg Adole as the chairman, as decision which attracts controversy, while the ex-NCPC boss was appointed on the July 4, 2020 by President Muhammadu Buhari and spent 3 years in the office before his removal. A statement signed by its Director of Publicity and Advocacy, Abdullah Aziz Suleiman, said Palm's removal did not follow due process and the removal lacked of transparency and accountability, as Palm was not allowed to complete his tenure. Retired soldiers have advised the federal government to be careful with its decision to rehabilitate and reintegrate some repentant terrorists who have gone through the government's de-radicalization programs, Operation Safe Corridors. The OSC, which began under the former President Muhammadu Buhari, has run for several years, and no fewer than 4,000 ex-Boko Haram members go through the program. The ex-soldiers said in Gombe State alone, no fewer than 2,168 ex-Boko Haram members passed through the radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration camp at Kwame local government area of Gombe State in the last 8 years, while in January 2023, 613 rehabilitated terrorists undergoing the radicalization and were scheduled to be handed over by the military authorities and handed over to their respective state governors. Also speaking, a former director of the Department of State Service, Mr. Mike Ejiofor, said the rehabilitation program seems not well thought and ill-timed. A Nigerian governor's Fintum said the decision of the remaining 20 state governors on the proposed establishment of state police are expected to be submitted within the next 4 weeks. Director General of Nigerian Governors Forum, Ashiana Okauru, who discloses 16 state governors has either thrown their weight behind the establishment of a state police as the panacea for the insecurity ranging a different part of the country. The senior special assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkocha had earlier disclosed in a statement that said the discussion were held at a meeting of the National Economic Council and that 16 out of 36 states has already submitted their report on the state policing initiatives, and NCE received the report from the 16 governors at its 140 meeting held at the Aso Rock Villa on March 21, 2024. Nkwocha said there was an expectation that the remaining 20 governors who identify identities were not disclosed would also submit their reports, stressing that all the states across the countries expressed their support for the establishment of state police. Meanwhile, the 2014 National Political Reform Conference has recommended devolving policy by allowing states to create their police and enabling security community policing. Leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress says it will unseat Julius Abure as national chairman of the Labour Party. The NLC spokesperson Ben Sinukpa said that despite the illegal national convention that returned Abure to office, the union would never confer legitimacy or give recognition to their leadership. The development is coming after the time when a group of retail workers under the edges of Lagos Assembly of Labour Veteran and Trade Unionists also called for the resignation of the embattled national chairman of the party and the NLC president Joe Ajero over their contentious leadership struggles. The party's presidential candidate Peter Obi also seemed to be at the loggerhead with the leadership of the party over the manner it conducted and the convention in Nnewi, Anambra State, despite his plea for wider consultation and has expressed his frustration at an X, formerly Twitter, space section organized by Panel Facts. While explaining his absence at the National Convention that got Julius Abure re-elected as the party's national chairman, Obi told his audience that they didn't attend the event because the party's leadership failed to heed his appeal for the wider consultation with relevant stakeholders before the exercise. And now to some business reports. Minister of Solid Mineral Development Dr. Dele Alake said the federal government is ready to support mining companies that place a premium on local content in their operations. Speaking during a site tour of the Segular Resources Operation Limited, an indigenous gold mining company in Ilesha, Osun State, the minister lauded the extensive work that has gone into the facility, expressing delight that over 95% of its staff are Nigerians and urged other operators to take a cue from them. He advised mining companies to emulate the international best practices of the Segular Gold Project to develop the sector and commended the high Nigerian competence of the project. A statement signed by the Minister's Special Assistant on Media in Abuja, the Minister also praised the company's tenacity of purpose and efficient method deployed to push through with its vision, despite challenges at the inception, stressing that its focus has been to redirect local and international attention to the mining sector. Alake also said the implementation of his 7-point agenda is to reposition the mining sector and express the commitment of the federal government to support mining companies that place a premium on local content in their operations. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has directed power distribution companies to refund all overbilled Band B customers by April 11. The directive to the electricity distribution companies on implementation of the April 2024 supplementary multi-year tariff order came amidst complaints from customers not on Batch A, who are now being made to pay 255 naira per kilowatts for electricity. Federal government said it will no longer pay subsidy on electricity consumed by Band A consumers, but others would continue to pay the old rate, adding that the DISCOs upgraded their payment platform. Some consumers on Band A, C, D, and E, while they were made to pay 225 naira per kilowatts instead of the old tariff. On this development, the NERC said it has directed all electricity distribution companies to refund their affected customers and also required to immediately post on their website the schedule of approved Band A traders that have been affected by the rate review. And now, international tidbits. Israel has given conditions to agree to the ceasefire in the ongoing war with Hamas. The European country said it will not yield to any agreement unless hostages in Gaza are released. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this on Sunday, insisting that Israel would not agree to ceasefire as the war against Hamas in Gaza enter its 7th month until the hostage being held in Gaza are released. He made the commitment at the start of the weekly cabinet meeting, and this came as a new round of trade talk in Egypt are set to begin. Netanyahu said that despite growing international pressure, Israel would not give it into extreme demand from the Hamas, the militant group which run Gaza, which sparked the war on 7 October with its deadly attack on southern Israel. Former hostage and relative of the remaining adoptees have commiserate with the fact of those who held hostage by the Hamas in Gaza. Gaza Strip 6 months after October 7th attack, more than 50,000 people showed up for the Jerusalem rally calling for the hostage to be brought home, according to the organization of family members behind the march. A number of sisters of the women who are still being held hostage stood on the stage at the beginning of the event dressed in clothes like those worn by the women on October 7th when the Palestinian militant group Hamas led to surprise attack on Israel, triggering the current war. Several trapped their mouths shut as the symbol of the hostage. Speechlessness and painted red paint on their clothes are arms as a sign of blood. Relatives of the hostage record the festivities of the past 6 months, which had to be celebrated without their loved ones. Now their hopes to return for their Passover Seder place during one of most important holiday in the Judaism, celebrated this year from April 22 to 30. Some 1,200 people were killed during attack led by Hamas militants on October 7th, and 250 more adopted into Gaza. Israel responded with massive airstrike and a ground offensive, which have killed more than 33,000 people, according to the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, much of which has been left in Iran and on the brink of famine. And that's the size of the package. Thanks for joining us. I am Immaculata Irekana. You can join us on all our social media platforms. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, Atlantic TV Net. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress.